Well, hello, everybody. What normally would be April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2024. I read a meme today that said April Fool's Day was canceled because everything in the world is such a joke at these times. We really don't need it anymore. Amen. So, but what we have tonight, folks, and I encourage all of you to give me a minute here because I don't care if you're new, if you're older, you've been around for a while. I'm interested in what is going to happen today and going forward for all of us that are still here in this mining sector. Give yourselves a hand, everybody. 3.5 years of getting kicked in the nuts and getting slapped in the face if you're a woman. And you have, I think we have crossed the line where officially I'm calling it end to the bear market. I think that the bear market in gold mining equities and miners actually ended very subtly in Q4 2022. Rick Rule, in an interview I did with him recently, had the same contention. But certainly last year, wasn't like a bull market. I mean, a lot of the smaller juniors continued to just get bludgeoned. And that was for several reasons. However, a 3.5 year bear cycle of this severity, it does a lot of devastation to people's portfolio. It also creates a tremendous amount of opportunity for people that have some liquidity, some savings, some income. So I'm talking to everybody here tonight, which is going to be from those of you that are family offices and or very wealthy, high net worth, ultra high net worth individuals, down to maybe somebody who's struggling right now to even hold on to what you have, and your income is not paying your bills because we've had debasement of our currency of 10 to 15% a year the last few years. And that's actually what the number is. You don't see it in the inflation data, but the debasement, the amount that has been printed here in America, and I believe our Canadian brethren have had similar numbers. You wonder why it's so much tougher in the last 2 to 3 years. Hey, look at all the money they gave away from COVID, and look how much they've had to give away to keep this debt system going. So we pay for that. We pay for that. So what am I doing here today with you? I am here with good news. It is not as good as the gospel for those of you that celebrated Ishtar yesterday. It's supposed to be Easter, which actually has more to do with Passover than it does with bunnies and eggs. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. What I want to get into today, I'm going to show you a few charts, and I'm going to give you my projections on where gold goes from here and what is it going to take for the miners to actually kick in. You would think, I mean, those of us that have been around here, you would think that gold over 2,200 should have done the trick, and put some life into these gold miners. Hasn't been the case yet. Let me share my screen. And what I want to do is show you the most important chart that I focus on. Excuse me. This is the most important chart for all of us, that as long as this chart is doing what it's doing and will continue to do well, we're taken care of. The money's in the bank in the mining stocks. No problem. That goes for gold, that goes for silver, that goes from platinum metals. And I believe that even if you look back in time, gold tends to be a leader even of the base metals and critical metals. Whatever. Put that on the side if you don't believe it. What it does do, though, is it has a massive correlation to how silver stocks are going to do, and also the platinum group metals to a good degree as well. This is a 10-year chart of the price of gold in US dollars. So the back in 11, look at this right here. How time flies. This is the month right here. One of these two, I don't remember which one, probably the second wick. when I launched the Gold Investment Letter, and I decided to name it the Gold Investment Letter instead of a generalist newsletter, because at the time I was very involved in mining stocks, but my background very diverse in terms of speculation and sector focus. You know, I've been, you know, deeply involved in tech, still am as an angel investor and in crypto. And part of the reason I did not even yet announce, we have a lot of new subscribers here, by the way, so welcome. Everybody else has been sticking their head in the sand, but some of the smart money, some of the smarter people are realizing gold, there's value here, the mining stocks, there's huge value there. Because I'll say it again, and I said it too early, I was off on my timing, but he who owns all the minerals in the ground will be king. And that's for a myriad of different reasons. I also believe that he who's got a lot of digital hard assets and quality in the form of Bitcoin is going to be king. But the metals and the mining equities and those that own the mines, own the future mines of America, own the discoveries, the next big discoveries, are going to see a cycle that is very powerful. We've been talking about if and when is this going to happen. It's here right now. I'm ringing the bell right now. And part of this, anybody who's listened to me since last October, November, we went from, you know, a terrible market that was about 3 years old, little over 3 years old. The gold and the mining market topped in August of 2020. Everything else, like the S&P and Bitcoin and all these other different asset classes, QQQ, they topped in November of 2021. So we topped out earlier than those markets, didn't even participate for the last part of 2020 or, you know, the bulk of 2021. In fact, we were sideways to down in the mining stocks already. So then, you know, everything gets pummeled in 22. We certainly joined that club. Of course, we're going to join that club. And then in 23, even though we may have had the low prints on a lot of the producers and development companies, the junior miners continued to, after they were bombed out, by the way, in 2022, bombed out meaning the sellers, the ones that had to sell, that, you know, were afraid and just, you know, got out, or the speculators or the investors who just said there's not going to be returns here that I foresee in the foreseeable future, that got out of the space. The junior miners is very concentrated and held by investors like myself, like some of you, like many of our elite members, our premium members, folks that are at the top of the food chain in the mining sector, that have the capital to sustain themselves, and then would never sell some of these juniors anywhere near the prices that they're at, because it's incredible in terms of the value. We're talking about, you know, and I've been focused on this really since last summer, buying ounces of gold in the ground. And we've been getting that through different junior mining companies for $1.50 to $3 US per ounce in the ground. What's that going to look like with gold at 3,000? I don't know, but it ain't going to be there, my friends. It ain't going to be there. It's going to be a lot higher. And the reason I even mentioned 3,000, we're at 2257. I want to get across one point to you all today. If you think that I'm putting out a bullish report, I've done this before. So for example, I have talked about bullish ideas in certain areas, like for example, I've talked about this in the last update too. I was wrong about, you know, a handful of things and or stocks. And one of them in 2021, when I was taking profits in some of my crypto bets from buying in 18 and 19 during the bear market, and then also in the flash crash, if you will. It was more than a flash. It was a pretty brutal pullback in COVID of March of 2020, where here at the Gold Investment Letter, for those of you that have been around, you can go back into your emails and see the day that the sector blew up. the day that it blew up and the 3X ETFs were gone forever because both the bull and the bear side went to zero, I put out a buy alert and I said the bottom is in, and I would buy SLV calls. I gave a specific little bit of room. I like to buy my options in the money, at the money, and or give me duration. I'll pay the extra because most of the time when I lose in a bet on options, it's because I didn't have enough time, not because I was wrong in terms of that trend. So anyway, many of the people that actually in the free e-letter here as well, and the premium and elite members that went along with that trade back in March of 2020, we made between like 7 and 8 times our money in like 5 months. Because we saw that big bounce in silver and those things in 2020 before we hit the August high, and then things went down from there and they've been bad from there. But during the duration of let's call it back in April of 21 and then in November, I was sitting on such large profits from some of the big crypto bets that I had made that I was moving that money feverishly into different asset classes, you know, for once in my life. Safe, real estate, cash, gold itself, physical gold. But I also started to build positions in some of the favorite juniors that I had at that time. And if you'll recall, this is where some of you may own, like, you know, Giga Metals. I think at the time, the stock was like right under or right at like 38, 40 cents Canadian, which is now cut in half from there. And so I was early on that. I didn't think nickel would go down to as low as it has, which is almost $6 a pound. I think it's back to 750 now, and probably has seen the lows for various reasons. But I'm just admitting that I'm not perfect in this game. But what is going to be very important, if any of you believe that, you know, I've got some skill and ability in this game, in this sector, and I think that the proof in the pudding over time is that I do. And so that means that, for example, 2016, late 16, I approached Bill Sheriff, CEO of Encore Energy, to give him a financing. I started buying that new, it was an uranium play, and nobody was buying it. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was certainly cold calling him. I had known him briefly before that, and I think spoke to him once, but I came out of the blue and said, hey, do you want $500,000 because I think we're getting close to the uranium bottom, and you guys have built this other energy fuels company. You're a part of that group that had a successful run, created a lot of wealth. But in that case, I'm just bringing this up because I was actually over 2 years early when that happened, even though that stock went from 5 cents when we started to get in. We did a 6 cent placement. We did a big cross at 12 cents Canadian. It went to like 22 cents on huge volume, all within months. And I thought I was a genius until it rolled back over and went all the way to 4 cents. The one thing that I was, though, during that entire timeline, which is why a lot of people have made a lot of money on Encore and changed even complete lives. The stock now it went through a 3-for-1 reverse split, but it's like almost 430, 440, $4. And, you know, from 4 cents to that, you know, it's not too bad of a pick. But you had to be patient. And I told people, you know, when it went back and broke down below 10, I said, maybe I was wrong on the bottom in uranium for timing, but I believe that the bottom in uranium is going to happen again. And it's not going to be an unreasonable amount of time. And this is my main bet, that I'm going to continue to accumulate all the way down, however long it lasts. And then I'll do it in a pace in which I know I can keep buying and not have to sell out of the stock. And it made us an ultimate fortune. Now, I bring that up because there were times, like in the 2021 period, where I had all these crypto profits, and I started saying, I'm building a position in particular mining stocks. They have gotten bludgeoned, but that was in a brutal bear market. And I was, you know, also very vocal in 2015 about some of the value that I was seeing. This market itself, if it reminds me of any particular bear market in junior miners, I would say it has reminded me the most of 2015 summer and fall. And we all know what happened in late January 2016. Gold and the miners exploded, and the GDXJ went up. It tripled in 7 months. That's not what I think is going to happen here because of, look at this chart. This is the price of gold on a monthly closing basis. I've been saying this since last fall. What we need is we need a monthly closing price above, to be safe, $2,100. And we've actually had new high closes, which is usually what you will use, but I wanted to give it a little bit of extra height because I didn't want to get head faked out of a gold. You know, they do this a lot. Look at what happened here in 20, early 23. They let it go up above the high and then brought it back down again. And there we go. We're back in a channel. However, this time is very different. We saw gold close the month of March above 2,200. This is our signal. This is the signal that I've been talking about for months and months and months. Plus, we've actually had the subtle signals, 1, 2, 3, 4 monthly closes going back to November of 2023 that were at all-time highs on the price of the month, on the monthly, in the price of gold. Now it's taking off, and this is significant, very significant, because this is an all-time high on an asset class. It's never been this high. It has been, you know, essentially a 4-year consolidation that we've had to see for it to get to this place, and it's a quadruple top breakout. So what does that all mean? That means that my call, my inclination is that at a minimum, gold is going at a minimum to $2,600 to $2,700 within the next 5 to 9 months. All right. By year end, gold will be $2,600 to $2,700 at a minimum. And in this cycle that we're going on, which I wouldn't put that type of duration on it, I'd give it a little bit more time. But we know, look at this in 18, when gold took off 1,200 to 2,000. How long did it take? It took us, yeah, about what I'm going to say now, 15 to 18 months, where we're going to hit and break $3,000 on gold. High range, high target for this particular cycle, 3,200 on gold. Lowest target, which will happen swiftly, I'm saying 2,600 to 2,700. I think it's minimum 2,700 to 3,200 that we're going to in gold. Now, at what point do these miners end up acting and reacting? The GDXJ is not a junior mining ETF. These companies all have over $1 billion market capitalization. The little ones that we like that can make you actually wealthy if you time this stuff somewhat properly, as we heard from the Rick Rule interview that I did on Real Vision, and his biggest winner was Paladin Uranium, that he bought at a dime, went right to 12, all the way down to a penny, and he bought more at a penny and a half and 2 cents, and the stock ended up going to over $10. So part of his position was, you know, a massive, massive winner, and he made a lot of his clients very rich. But he's kind of like me in the situation where if you're looking at me and saying, I've been bullish, I've been more bullish too early, I would rather be too early than too late any day of the week, because everything that I've done that has made me a lot of money in investing, I was early. I was early selling. I was early buying. That is the key, or one of the keys, certainly as an investor or professional speculator trader. We haven't seen the big move yet, but what we've seen, and especially in the small juniors, I'm going to be recommending a number of modest size mid-cap juniors, not even juniors, the mid-cap development companies in gold and silver. We're focused on that for right now because of the breakout in gold. There's new ones coming out for elite and premium members. There's going to be reiterations of the ones that I've been adding to my positions aggressively since we've had this breakout. And even I pretty much could tell, I was pretty certain that we would close the month of March above 2100. So the last few weeks, I've actually had, some 10 to 12x moves in 2023 into early 24 in crypto that I started to shave off 10 or 20% of some of those positions, move it into my brokerage account, and start stacking some very cheap juniors. If you have money, this is what I would call, and I'm bringing you the crypto analogy just because it's the freshest bear market to bull market, powerful, bad bear market to bull market recollection that we participated in, and it happened most recently, which was, during 2022, that market going into January of 23. I've done videos on this channel that I said in early January into early February. So just a little over a year ago, I said that you need to pull emergency cash funds, not just put money into Bitcoin. I said, pull the emergency button and get it into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then Bitcoin at that time was in the 16,000s. Today it's at 70. That's why I had that conviction. Right now, if you are and have been waiting because gold you think has been underperforming, gold's about to play catch up. All right. Gold's about to do what it does. And gold has spurts of 12-month, 15-month, 18-month runs, consolidation. Bottom line, gold is up 50x in the last 50 years since it was taken off the gold standard and they closed the gold window back in 1971. So call it 53 years, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Bottom line is gold doesn't compete with Bitcoin. It's complementary to Bitcoin, and it stores our value of purchasing power. And it's very important that everybody, in my opinion, have at least 10% of your investable assets in physical gold or in a vehicle that you're very confident the physical gold is there. They're audited every month or every quarter, and you're paying a very marginal fee. If you have some, real wealth and you want to put 100 million into gold, it's not really going to be feasible to just take a bunch of gold bars. Although I would say a couple percent physical, get the physical stuff, hide them at your mom's house in her sock drawer, whatever, doesn't matter. But having that physical money makes a lot of sense. But now look at what's happened. McEwen Mining, check this bad boy out. Total piece of crap. Everybody's giving me crap again on McEwen. This thing had underperformed for a long period of time. And, there's a monthly chart, but let's look at the weekly. So the last 2 years, we did bottom. And this is why I say we bottomed in the late 2022. It's a lot of these charts on the producer side, the gold producer side, have show their bottoms that were there. So yeah, we had a nice run all the way to $10 from like $3, and that happened in 6 months. But then, a flag and a consolidation period for another year. And so this is what has frustrated gold investors. Now, McEwen may very well have been benefiting recently, certainly all along, from their copper asset in Argentina, which is the 9th largest copper asset undeveloped on planet Earth. But they also, if you look back, I did my interview. I'm not saying it was because of this, but I did my interview. We could probably see it on the daily. I did my interview with Rob right here on Real Vision. But it was also the day of their earnings, which showed that McEwen Mining had gone from over $1 a share loss the prior 12 months to 2 years ago to over $1 a share net income earnings, which really sparked a lot of money to come into the play. So this stock is up 80%. Let's look at Equinox, another one of my top positions and favorites. So we're looking at just in late February, guys. So 5 weeks from $4 up to $6, 50% move. Not too bad for a mining producer, right? I will let you guys know that I think perhaps the cheapest development stage mid-tier gold, pure gold play, Nevada focused, the one that has not budged yet for some reason that will play catch up is I-80. I-80 has not done what these other stocks have done, and I really don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. And I've been buying I-80. This is the US on the Amex. I've been buying it pretty feverishly over the past few weeks. I'm building it into one of my largest core long-term portfolio positions. I've already got that at Equinox and McEwen and, several other larger plays, also in silver. I did do an episode on Real Vision that focused on, if you haven't seen this, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to include an interview that I just did on Real Vision that came out on Sunday. Or was it 1 week ago, Sunday? I don't remember, but how timely, because here, this is the title of it, How to Face Down Adversity in the Gold Mining Sector. So yes, it was just yesterday. My brain, although fried a bit with my memory from being sick, still works, and you'll hear some stories in that video. You'll hear some stories about the struggles that I've gone through at various stages of my investing career. So if you're down right now and you're feeling demoralized, or you're feeling like, angry because you're in this sector that isn't performing and everybody else in the world is making a fortune in AI and crypto and QQQ and even the S&P. Watch that video. I mean, my hope is that it gives you some encouragement. But my message for all of you today is it's game on in mining stocks right now. What you do now in the next few days to weeks is going to set the tone for how much money you're going to make in this next bull cycle. I'm going to quote one of my brokers, so it didn't come from me originally, because it would sound like hype, but I tend to agree with them. I've stayed away and I've talked a lot about risk. I've talked a lot about having to go through that 2100. I've been patient to see it happen, to really ring a bell and say, bull market on. That's what this video is. Bull market is on. And my broker in Vancouver, actually, when I saw him in October, he made a comment that said, I think the next bull cycle in mining stocks and metals will be the biggest, most powerful that we've ever seen in history. And it could be. It could be. Am I making that prediction? I'm not. Doesn't really matter if it's a mid-level bull cycle. As long as this sector actually is still cyclical, some of us are going to make mad cash, big money, large wealth, never work again rich. How would you like to be on that team? I've got a premium service that I think is underutilized after this whole time. I haven't been putting out a ton of stuff. You're going to see more here on the free e-letter, because I want everybody to prosper. But my real motivation and my real loyalty is going to be to the people that pay me for my research. And one of the things that I believe that is a strength of mine is pyramiding profits in a bull market, meaning you can try all you want. I don't care if you're a hedge fund manager or you're an algo. It doesn't even matter, because when I start to see profits and I'm engaged in these markets and we see a bull cycle rolling, just like has been happening in crypto, I don't think you're going to get anybody that's much better or better at all at helping you to rotate partial positions on things that are overdone, getting them into the laggards that are about to take off, and really pyramiding your profits in a bull market. And that's if you are somewhat low on cash reserves or you don't have a tremendous amount of income. If you have income and you have cash and you're sitting on the sidelines with some level of money, this is a wonderful opportunity for you guys to start deploying capital, because gold, silver stocks, I am focused on right now. and I have been for a couple of months in boosting my positions there. I'm going to write a little bit in this email intro. I'm going to put a link to this video. Hopefully a lot of you watch it. I'm going to cut it off so it doesn't go too long, but I'm also going to put a link to the Real Vision interview that just came out with Roger Hurst and I. And ironically, it was I got very personal. I talked about the times when I was wiped out and had to start over. So if that applies to any of you, you definitely want to watch it. If it doesn't apply to you, I think you're going to enjoy the story. It's a comeback story that's happened to me, a couple of times as an adult. And as your newsletter writer, Gold Investment Letter came out 13 years ago, almost 12 and a half. I have gone from, zero to hero to zero to hero to zero to hero. But now the hero is like, I've been able to have a lot of success in my investing and speculating and trading career, even in the face of this last, bear cycle, because I do have other areas of investment, particularly crypto, which I've been pretty ahead of the curve on, and thank the Lord that has gotten me plenty of liquidity along the way to be doing private placements. If you're a high net worth individual, accredited investor, you can sign up for the elite service, which a lot of the folks on that list, which we cap at 25 people. We've got 23 or 22 right now. So there are some slots, but I like to have interviews there before we take your money, just to make sure it's a fit and what what to expect. These are private placements where I'm in the middle negotiating, a discount to market. And really the important thing is full warrants, no accelerator for long periods of time. So we get double paid. And getting double paid, I like getting double paid. How do you like to get double paid? The Encore situation, for example, look at Abra Plata. Abra Plata Silver is a great project. That thing has been hanging in there pretty well. It turned into what will probably get bought out. I think it'll get bought out in the next 18 months, the Diabolos project. But warrants that I invested, we helped save that company 5 years ago. They had a payment coming up. I remember being at my desk and deciding if we're going to help or not, along with Chairman Rob Bruggeman at the time. John Miniotis came in later. He's done a great job managing the company. But, that was at 5 cents with a 10-cent full warrant, good for 5 years. I still had 700,000 warrants laying there at 10 cents that I just sent the money in last week for. Stock's at 35. Thank God for double profits and warrants. Anyway, if that's not in your part of the game, just know and just be encouraged that for me, I see a beginning, an official stamped beginning of a new gold bull market, which means that, and I'll say this is the last thing. Everybody asks, when are the little ones going to actually kick in? Where does gold have to go for them to start getting a bid? My guess conservatively is between $2,400 and $2,500 gold. All of a sudden, if the gold juniors that are under like 50 million market caps, if they stay like in this dead zone where there's no volume and they're trading near all-time lows, when gold goes above 2,400 to 2,500, there's going to be like a week that they all just absolutely start exploding because they don't need much in terms of capital flows. And people are going to start to put two and two together and say to themselves, what's going on here? Because the producers are the ones that are going to drive all the way downstream the demand for exploration stocks, development stage companies, and producers, other producers that could be trading at a discount. Because guess what? There's a lot of gold companies that are out there, silver companies as well. Let's take it with gold, that have been operating their business so tight, prepared for a dip down to $1,700-$1,800 gold. They've been doing this for years, and then all of a sudden you get it above 2,000 and they're starting to eke out a profit. Now we're at 2,200. Every $100 move in the price of gold is going straight to their bottom lines. And that is driving the producers. The producers will be in a very strong position in 2020, 24, 2025, they're going to be flush with cash. And what does that mean? They start to go shopping. I'm going to have an update for you guys. Again, I gave you one last week on Phenom Resources, my biggest position. But I'll just say again, you know, I was a little cryptic for a reason. Man, that stock is going to make, it's going to make my career. Have a good day, guys. Cheers.